Hello, friends and neighbors from all around the world, to the next project. This is episode 8 of our Epiphone 355 Reneck project series. This project started out as a Reneck, as some of you know, and it has blossomed into a bunch of other work. We've got shiny color, front, back, sides, everywhere you can look. Whew, a lot going on. It is, again, temporarily strung up. Why is it temporarily strung up? Well, there's a reason we'll talk about in just a little bit. But we're really close. Insanely low action at the moment. Insane. Can't stay here. It's got to get higher. Whew, let's jump into it and continue in the next project.
So in the grand scheme of things, I keep putting this guitar together, stringing it up, testing it, yada, 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 doing all that fun stuff. Again, we've got the strings on it. We've got it tuned up to pitch. I'm checking the relief of the neck. It's looking really good. Making some adjustments, running through some chromatic runs up and down the neck, some various bends. I want to make sure that I don't have any surprises coming at me in the near future, because we're about ready to start sanding. We have got the electric-powered elbow wrecker wound up here. We are taking the finish off of the, the high build sanding sealer that we sprayed on here, trying to level everything out. So we put on some clear sealer, and now we're sanding it away, trying to get it all nice and smooth, because sanding is fun. We always have to remember that. Everybody say it with me. Sanding is fun. The more sanding you do, the more fun you have. Yeah, we're going to do a lot of sanding in this episode. Oh, look at that. We're now cleaning off some of our sanding residue. Oh, no. We flipped it over and more sanding. Woohoo! All right. Oh, as we can see, I have the access cover screwed onto the back. Now, that might be kind of weird because those screws protrude up just a little bit. Wow, I just went ahead and sanded the heads right off of them. Got them nice and low. Ooh, some hand sanding. That's always nice. You know, it's a little easier. No, it's not easier on the elbow. It's a lot of work, no matter how you look at it. Sanding is a big part of my life when I'm working on guitars. Well, I hope you're enjoying witnessing so much sanding, and it's not over yet. There is more sanding coming your way very soon. So I'm making light of this, but we do have a lot of sanding to do, and a lot of it's detail sanding. It's, getting inside the F holes a little bit there, sanding the edges of the headstock or the sides of the headstock. Really not trying to sand the edges, I should emphasize. I'm not trying to sand the edges too much. I don't want to sand through, and typically where finish is on an edge, that's where it's the thinnest. So I actually do my edge sanding pretty much last. So we've got everything looking pretty good now, I think. Do we have any more sanding to do? Oh, down in there. That's not fun sanding down in there. Well, we are moving on from sanding for a little while. We're going to do a little bit of taping, and we're getting some tape inside the body to protect it from any overspray that would go through either the control holes, like where the pots would be, or the F holes themselves. Getting some tape on the fingerboard, squishing it down around the frets just so the paint and clear coat don't drift underneath and get all over the fingerboard. That'd be bad. Using some blue, I think this is considered a vinyl tape. It's an automotive product for auto body shops. They do some fine detail taping with this, and then they do their larger masking. I'm kind of doing the same thing here. This is 1/8 inch tape again here. I'm also using some 1/4 inch wide blue tape. And I have my magnifier headset on there, my binoculars. It's really kind of amazing how small everything is and how hard it is to see. Now we're doing some fun taping off the control cavity on the back, where that cover will go. Also, I put some paper down inside the F hole on the side that I can't get to the back of it to tape it off. Doing our final taping around the headstock and the length of the neck around the binding. And we're going to be pretty close to being ready for, let's see, oh no, we're not close. We have more taping. I can see right there. There it is. Got to tape off the mother of pearl lightning bolt. Ba-boom, shazam, woo, yeah. Oh, we have to clean some stuff. This is isopropyl alcohol. It's 99%, but you don't need 99%. That's 70% stuff, or even 90% would work. I use this as a pre-cleaner. I think I went around it twice, sprayed it, wiped it off, sprayed it, wiped it off. Now I'm using kind of a Prep-Sol spray-on pre-painting cleaner. It's basically a high-end glass cleaner of sorts. Not Windex necessarily, but a foaming glass cleaner. Also did some tack rag, and now we're shooting on a foundation color coat. Now you might go, why would you be putting on something so dark? Well, the colors that we're going to be spraying actually recommend a dark base coat. And one of the colors we're putting on is a dark metallic brown, kind of a bronze metallic, I can't remember what it's called now. But the sides of the body and the back of the neck and sides of the headstock are all going to be this deep, nice chocolatey metallic brown. So we're getting a couple coats of that on. And with the foundation color down, this covers really well. And the foundation didn't have to be very thick. It didn't have to be a solid spray, just something to tone the light color of the wood, make it uniform so the color of the paint could cover easier. Now we've done some taping, and we're moving on to spraying the face and the back of the headstock black. This is by request by the owner. He had a really cool idea to mask off the shape of the stinger there, which is a volute, and also match it to the face of the headstock where the lightning bolt mother pearl is. Now we're moving on to the big bang, the color of colors. We have some automotive base coat color gold. It's called 24 karat gold, actually. The paint manufacturer is pretty clever there. Getting a few coats of that shot on, and everything, well, for the most part, is looking pretty good. Here I'm just going around hitting all the hard to reach spots first. So when I go back and shoot color on the body, it will actually, catch all those nooks and crannies a little easier. First coat went on really well. Second coat did a great job of covering. I think we're in good shape. Doing kind of a drop coat there. This would be the second coat going on here. And then I shoot in the opposite direction. That's kind of what would be considered a drop coat. Kind of. So, it's looking good. I think we're in good shape. Ooh, we gotta peel some tape off and some paper off. We're gonna be spraying some clear soon. That's exciting. Been waiting a long time to get it to this point. Oh, peeling off that tape and it's sticking to me. Well, if you're familiar with the channel or familiar with me, you know that I quite often rework things that I've done. I do it and I go, yeah, maybe that's not quite good enough or not quite right or whatever. Well, today is no exception. I have had the 355 all painted and shot in clear, ready for polishing. I started doing my final level sanding to get it glassy smooth. I was going to sand up to like 2500 grit paper and then hit it with my benchtop polisher. But I found a couple blemishes that I didn't care for. And unfortunately, I don't have any more of the gold color on hand. I ordered what I needed and I used it, and now I need more. So more gold is ordered, and I went ahead and sanded all of the gold off of the body back down to the original sealer. And we're going to lather, rinse, repeat once again as soon as the new finish gets here. Now, is this necessary? You can make that call. If it's your guitar and you're doing the work on it, you can decide what's good enough and what's not. Since this is not my guitar, it's belongs to someone else. I want to do the best work I possibly can, even if it means redoing my work, which I quite often do. That's who I am. I see something and I can't unsee it. My eye starts twitching and I just have to jump in and fix it. As we continue the next project. Some days things just don't go right, even when they look pretty darn good. But you know what? We do what we can, we try to make it better, and we move on. So after the clear that we saw I was just spraying, the guitar sat for a week. I came back to it, I started prepping it for polishing. And then I saw a couple little blemishes I didn't like. So I made the decision to sand all the gold and clear off of it and refinish the gold and clear areas And then that sat for another week. And here we are. I'm at my apartment now. I've got some Super Acelix dry sanding papers out, and I'm sanding the finish nice and smooth. And actually, the second time around, when I was shooting the clear, I'd actually gotten my spray gun dialed in a little bit better. The clear was going on really, really nice. So orange peel was at a minimum, and sanding went pretty well. I did, let's see, what did we do? 1,000 grit, 1,200, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000 grit total sanding with this dry paper, I believe. Kind of neat thing about it is you can sand when this paper starts to plug up. You just wipe it on, like, have a towel there. I just wipe it on the towel, and it takes the buildup out of the paper. When I'm in the garage, I just wipe it on my shirt, which we might see later, and my shirt has a big old white dusty spot on it. So and here we are a few days later again. We are back in the garage and doing the final 3,000 grit sanding. Hey everybody, we're heading over to the benchtop buffer. We have got the clear and color reapplied, everything sanded out to 3,000 grit using the Super Acelix dry sanding papers. Gold, browns, black, mother pearl, all looking really good, nice and smooth. It's even sanded down in the hard to get spots, which are going to be hard to polish. But that's where we're heading right now as we continue the next project. I was lucky enough not to sand through any edges or other areas on the body anywhere while I was sanding. That's great. You know, sometimes you get a little carried away, you get all anxious and excited, and you over sand something. Not today. We actually did it right. We've got the polisher running here. We've got the kind of the medium cut compound on the wool pad, and this is not a coarse wool pad, it's a fine wool pad, but it's still the coarse side of my buffing setup, and it's doing a great job. This thing is shining up just amazing. I'm really, really happy getting the gold going here, and it's all looking really nice. Doing a little dance. You know, it took quite a while to do the buffing though. The sanding took, I have about 2 hours in sanding, and I probably have about an hour in buffing then also altogether. And I have to be really careful, especially on the face. I've got all those control holes in it, for the pots and the switch and the output jack. Also have the F holes and the pickup holes. And those are all areas where the buffing wheel can snag or burn the finish off. So got to be careful with that. These are a finer wheel pad that's spinning there. And I also use a ultra finish or really fine finish compound bar on it, and it takes what's already shiny and makes it even shinier. So I'm really glad I made this buffer a couple of years ago now. It's been a while, but it's come in handy. Oh my gosh, tell me this guy's not going to do it again. Oh, he's checking the frets yet again. What, is he insane? Hasn't he done this 3 times already? Is this the 3rd or 4th time? Maybe he's done it 4 times now. Doing a couple different things using a fret rocker. Basically, it's a Fret Guru XT, and then also like a 6-inch long rule, steel rule. And that's the fret rocker is to check like neighboring frets, and the short rule is to check like all the frets on a block. And then, your straight edge would be all the frets in the neighborhood. I redundantly installed 2 ground wires, one to the bridge and one to the stop tailpiece inserts, just to prepare for future modifications that may happen. Now we're cleaning out the tuner holes, getting the excess clear coat out of them, pressing in the inserts. I'm using a pair of channel locks. One of the jaws is all taped up for padding, and I have a block of MDF that's wrapped in paper towel on the back, so I'm not scarring the back of the headstock. And everything's going together. It's looking pretty good. Now we're putting the vibrola back in place. I did put a piece of tape on the underside of the vibrola where the mounting screws go through, and that is just to hopefully keep the vibrola from bonding over time to the top finish of the guitar. It's kind of a questionable thing. If you've ever taken something apart that has paint on one surface and you clamp something down on the other, someday, when you take it apart, sometimes the paint has stuck to the thing that you mounted down to it. So we're trying to avoid some of that. If we're lucky, the tape will let go and stick to the paint, which could then be cleaned up instead of the paint sticking to the metal plate. So I don't know if that's going to help. Hopefully it will never be a problem, but... So we're checking the neck for straightness yet once again, giving it a little tweak with the truss rod wrench there, burping the baby. Who else does this? But I'll do an adjustment instead of waiting a day or a week or whatever for the neck to adjust. I grab the neck and wrap it gently on the back to help release any tension that's either in the wood or between the truss rod and the channel that it's in, whatever. Does it help? Perhaps. Does it hurt? No. So now we've got it strung up, we've got the strings jacked up, the guitar is up to pitch, and we're doing a quick understring test leveling, and it's all good. Didn't really need it. Since the understring checkup leveling went well, the neck is in great shape. I decided to move on. We got the neck taped up, and we're going to do some more tool testing. Jumping back to a tool that I really don't use. It's the Baroque, what is it, Gen 3 or Gen 4? I'm not even sure. It's got 4 different sides, diamond sides to it. It's got a narrow, medium, and wide crown width, and then also a flat diamond side. And I kind of bounce back and forth between the medium and the narrow for these frets just to see how it was doing. It's a really big tool, honestly. I mean, it's not so big you can't handle it, but it feels a little unwieldy in a way. I don't really feel like I'm controlling it, giving it much finesse. It's just kind of like rubbing a rock over the frets. And it did an okay job, but as we can see there, it's, you know, kind of in the way when I get up close to the body. So I'm going to have to change my plan a little bit here. I'm going to try a couple different tools. I've got an offset file and a diamond dagger from Fret Guru. And we're going to finish up the rest of the fingerboard, the rest of the frets on the fingerboard with the diamond dagger. Then I do jump back in and use the offset file to kind of go over everything and make everything uniform. Because, you know, I went from the Baroque to the Fret Guru, then I touch everything up with the offset file. I will also, we'll be seeing actually here in just a moment, I'm using the offset file to do a little bit of the touch up on my fret end dressing, but we'll see that just about now. Here we go. This is a Fret Guru fret end file. Use it to round over or ease the edges of the frets. I really love that file. I've had that for a few years and it's still going strong. Use it on a lot of nickel frets, a lot of stainless frets, and as long as I keep it cleaned out, it cuts pretty good. There is the offset file, and I just gently touch the top beveled edge of all the frets, and it helps kind of tie the round in. I'm not doing true hemispherical ends, but it just gives a nice round. Nice round. I know you guys are sick of seeing this thing, but this is the grip, which is just a sandpaper holder basically. Kind of got developed out of necessity. I always hated doing the, I guess they call it hot finger, where you just wad up a piece of sandpaper and you grip it between your fingers and you rub the heck out of the frets to take any sanding scratches or whatever out. My hands would cramp up all the time, and I really, really, really hated that. So this little tool went through, I think we're on version 19 or 20 right now. Keep tweaking the design a little bit at a time. Anyway, you cut a width of sandpaper, you coil it up, you slide it inside this tool, and as you go down the board, you just advance the sandpaper just a little bit, like 1/4 of an inch or so, and boom, you're done. Started out with 600 grit paper, did my first full pass of all the frets with 600. Now I'm reloading it with 1200 grit. So in review, the process goes something like this. Use the long beam to do all of our flat leveling, so the neck was set flat, and use the beam to knock tops of all the frets down so they're at the same height all the way down the board, so that was good. Then I actually did an understring leveling, which wasn't necessary on this guitar because the neck is nice and flat and isn't moving under string load, under string tension. So then we did our crowning, which I did use a few different tools for that. Then we did our fret end dressing, jumping into polish sanding, which is where we're using this tool. We could probably call it a day at 1200, but we're going to move on to final polish. And for this, I'm using some metal polish. This is Mother's Mag polish, but probably hundreds of other metal polishes would work. Also using a rotary style tool like a Dremel with a little wool pad on the end. Not spending a whole lot of time on any fret, not trying to get them hot, not pushing down, trying to grind on them. This is just for polishing. I'm not taking a bunch of material off the top of the frets, just shining them up. So this all went really well. And oh gosh, look at the time. I think we're going to have to call it a day. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me through this episode. So I really do appreciate your time. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. Hit the thumbs up button. It lets YouTube know you like this kind of stuff. Ring the bell for future notifications. And above all else, leave comments. I love hearing from everybody all around the world. We've got a really great family. Keeps growing. A lot of you have some pretty cool projects going on. I like hearing about that. So until next time, please take care of yourself and those around you.